So lesson 2, talking about the imperfective tense, which kind of means mostly future tense, but for certain words it kind of means present tense. This is a difficult conjugation to explain. Do my best, and then any issues that I have, I'll come back with edits and try and clarify things. For the imperfective tense, the translations will normally be I, he, she, whatever the person is, will blank. So for meblat, it will be I will eat, he will eat, she will eat. Or memtat, which is to come, I will come, he will come, she will come, etc. Sometimes it's also kind of present tense. It depends on the word a little bit, and it's kind of a case-by-case situation where you'll learn what words to use. Like mawik, you'll use the imperfective tense to kind of say that, like, I currently know something, or he currently knows something, or we currently know something. It can also kind of mean I will know something in the future. That being said, how do we get to the imperfective tense? Again, it's starting off with the infinitive and getting the root for conjugations, and then we're adding the appropriate prefixes and suffixes. So the appropriate prefixes and suffixes, I tried to put them here, like I or a is sort of the prefix for na, and then allo/allo is the suffix. I tried to put it here myself, but it's got pretty crammed, so I can just show you the textbook prefixes and suffixes. You just put an I or an A here, which is what I was trying to explain, and the textbook doesn't show. And then allo is the suffix. And if you look at all these different suffixes for imperfective, they're actually the same as those for perfective, like hu, he, she, u, in, achu, u. But they just have this alle in front of it, and that's kind of even what the textbook is trying to say here, where you add an al in front of it. So going back to here, I was trying to explain that if the root word begins with an a, it will overpower the I in the prefixes. So you see how there's an I prefix, ti prefix, ya prefix. If the word begins with an a, it will overpower this I and turn it into an a. So it'll be a whatever, allo, ta whatever, alle, ta. Well, second person female is a little bit of a headache, so I'll get to that later. Ya, whatever the root is, al. The other thing I wanted to say is that if the root word ends with an a, then you would just sort of combine the a from this suffix with the a from the ending of the root. So meblat is one of those. So like ebelallo is how you say I will eat. It's not ebela allo. It's not like it's just gonna be one a here, so they combine together. I think these two exceptions are actually easier than they seem, and with practice they'll just kind of make sense. And also, just to point out, the only one that doesn't listen to this replace the I with an a rule is we, because you're just gonna keep this in prefix. The number one thing that makes this difficult is these 8 cursed consonants. Well, they're actually called palatal consonants that apply for you female. If the last consonant of the root of the word is one of these 8 consonants that are listed here, it's gonna get replaced in a unique way and kind of have its own new sound. So t, soft t, d, glottalized t, s, z, n, and l will trigger that 8 palatal constant rule and change how the you female conjugation will end up looking. Those are the rules in an overview. Maybe with examples it'll make more sense. So starting off with meblat, again we're getting to the root conjugation the same as normal. Remove the me, remove the t, you're left with bella, and then we're adding the prefixes and suffixes. Here the prefix will be I. The word doesn't begin with an a, so I bella. It ends with an a, so we don't need to say allo, we can just say allo. I bellallo. For su, like he will eat, we just add the ye prefix. Again, it doesn't begin with an a, so it's not going to be ya belal or anything. It's just going to be ye belal. And then normally we throw an al on, but it ends with an a, so we don't need to add anything else besides the l here. So ye belal is he will eat. Ti prefix, alich suffix, ti belalich. And again, this a just gets fused with the a that would be in the suffix, so you can just add lich. Ti belale, again taking the prefix and then adding the correct suffix. This is where Amada gets kind of rough. So L is the final consonant of the root of meblat. So it's going to trigger this 8 palatal constant rule. So now we have to go to L, and L is going to be replaced by the consonant Y. And it's going to change the pronunciation to yalish. It's kind of, maybe there's another word, yeah, teyalish. The funny thing is it's using malet, which is an irregular word, to sort of show this situation. But normally you would have ti, and then let's look at mod. Mod actually is a word where you don't have to worry about this exception rule. So it would be temar iyalish. This is the normal suffix you add on to you female. But again, the 8 palatal constant rule got triggered for meblat. So it can actually be 2 things. You can actually replace the Y and then, or replace the paddle constant and then add yalish to it. So like here, they replace the T with, this is supposed to be a CH for mekfet, which is to open, to kefchi. So the T got replaced into the ch sound, like I said. Iyalish is the normal suffix and it gets added on there. However, it's possible in Amharic where people will not say iyalish. They won't use this iyalish suffix. They'll just change it to tikef ch. That's what this is supposed to be. Again, the same word of mekfet down here into tikef chalish. It's not tikef chialish, tikef chalish. So people will say both of them. You don't have to be able to say both of them, but you need to be able to hear both of them and recognize what they mean. That's probably a bit confusing, but hopefully with a couple more examples, things will make sense. For we, the prefix is in, the suffix is alin, so in belalin. Anta is te prefix, alachuhu suffix, te belal lachu, which is kind of tough to say, te belal lachu. And then enesu is ye prefix, alu suffix. Again, this word ends with an A, so you don't have to add it. Excuse me, ye belalu. Moving forward, memtat is to come. So again, me remove, t remove, meta is sort of the root word. And you can even put an E here to help pronounce these conjugations coming up, which I think is what the textbook tells you to do. So this word, again, is going to be very similar to meblat because it doesn't begin with an A, but it ends with an A. So a lot of the similar prefixes and suffixes we used above will apply here. So you can try them out as I remove them, but I'll probably go through these ones a little bit quicker. So, met allo, I will come. Ye metal, he will come. Te meta lich, she will come. Anta is te met alle. Here is an anchi one. So these again are the 8 paddle constants. So I keep forgetting to say this, but those two lists are the same list. The textbook just put the list twice because it's kind of showing how you can get the ialish versus alish versions of words, but it's the same list. Be triggered by certain endings. Glottalized T is the last consonant of the root of memtat. And if you look here, glottalized T is one of the 8 cursed consonants, as I keep calling them. So it's gonna get transformed into a CH. And again, it can be like temet chialish or temet chalish. It can be either one of those. Here's sort of showing like temet chialish, like you female will come, or it can just be like here, temet chialish, you female will come. And so I put both here to show that it can be either one. I guess technically I can put this here. Yeah, sorry, all these got messed up a little bit. Okay, so continuing on. Enya, put in front of it, alin to the end, and met alin, we will come. Yal, te prefix, alachuhu suffix, temet alachuhu, and then enusu, ye prefix, alu suffix, yemet alu. Mamtat, to bring. So again, memtat and mamtat, like I tried to mention before, look very similar. The only difference between them is this one vowel sound in the infinitives. And then even going forward into the imperfective, this A is really important because now this is going to trigger rule number 2, where the word begins with an A. So all these I's in the beginning, except for we, are going to get replaced by an A. So if you wanted to say I will bring, it's not a amtallo or something, it's amt, and then the normal suffix rules allo. So amt allo is I will bring. He will bring, it would be ya amt, like yamt al. I don't know how to say it. Like, it's not it's just yamt al, he will bring. She will bring tamt al-lich. Tamt al-lich. My pronunciation is pretty bad for this word, I think, but hopefully the idea is still getting explained. You male, tamt alle, and then for you female, this again is going to trigger the 8 paddle constant rule because the last consonant is a T. So it's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's counting glottalized T and glottalized S together, which ends up with the same CH replacement anyway. Glottalized T is here, so it's going to trigger that rule. Ta'amchialish or ta'amchalish. I think this is actually a good point to bring up the fact that English to Amharic is actually much better with these imperfectives for checking things. And luckily when you type in you will come, it gives you the female conjugation ta'metchialish. So you can see that here, but if you wanted to check like you will eat male, it might give you tibbalale, which is the masculine form. I don't know how to change it from giving you the masculine to the feminine. Like if you wanted the masculine form of this and you put like M here, that doesn't, oh, it did change it. Normally that doesn't work. Okay, what if I do that here? Yeah, okay, like you female will eat. Yeah, it didn't, okay. So yeah, English to Imatic is a good resource, but it has some weaknesses. Continuing on with we. So again, this A rule doesn't apply to we. It's gonna be in, like the normal prefix, amt allen. And amt allen is we will bring. Same idea for y'all, where it'd be ta amt alachuhu. Y'all will bring, and if we wanted to check, y'all will bring tamt alachuhu. Yeah, this is just, again, English to Imatic can sometimes make things a little more complicated, but this is just fluff that you don't need. This is basically what you're looking for right now. This isn't wrong, but this is what you're looking for. And then for they, yamt allu. Malet. Malet is an irregular, which is kind of unfortunate because it's pretty common. And even here the textbook says it's an irregular. So you just have to basically memorize these conjugations. They're not like that weird, relatively speaking. You're just gonna put like an L in front of the A beginning for alle, which is the root, and then it's the same like suffixes that you normally use. So like ilalalo, tilalle, tiyalish, for you female, yilal, tilalich, inalalin. Basically just memorizing these to be able to say in the future tense. Memar is one where you don't have to worry about an A beginning or A ending. This one is just like a blank slate to just put the prefixes on. So imarallo, I will learn. For he will learn. Yimaral, she will learn. Timaralich, you male will learn. Timaralle, anchi, you female. This one doesn't have an apatallal consonant ending. Like the last consonant of the root is not one of the 8 here. So you can just put on the normal ialish suffix for you female. Tamarialish is you female will learn. Inmaralen is we will learn. Tamaralachuhu, y'all will learn. Yamaralu, they will learn. Mawik I put because this is sort of a word that I know is kind of present tense when you use the imperfective conjugation. Like whenever I say I know something, I always say, and I'll give you a chance to guess this, Auk'allo, like I know it. Yauk'al is he will know or he knows it. Tauk'alich, she will know, she knows it. Tauk'ale, you male will know it, you male know it, either one. Taukialish is you female will know. That's tough for me to say. Let me just double check. Yeah, K is not one of the paddle constants, so you can just add the normal ialish suffix, which you can even see here is the normal suffix that you'll add to you female. In awik alin, we will know, we know it. Tawik alachuhu, y'all will know it, y'all know it. Yawik alu, they know it or they will know it. So I put extra words here, and I'm not gonna explain like how to get to the root and all these things. I'm just gonna give the answers. So you can pause the video and I'll go one row at a time and you can check to see how your answers compare to this one. And like always, I highly recommend going to English to Imatic and testing different infinitives and verbs that you find in different conjugations. And also just to even double check my own work, it might be a good idea to use English to Imatic in general to see if my answers line up with the English to Imatic answers. Actually, I should have mentioned this earlier. The issue with the perfective tense from last lesson was that there's two ways to say things in the past tense in Imatic, but luckily there's only one way to say things in the future tense or in this imperfective tense. So anytime you say I, he, she, will, do whatever, it should give you a expected conjugated answer. So removing the answers for Mekfel, Maref, Mefellig. So I forgot to say this during the video, but mefellig is actually that word we talked about before for saying I want. Like ifelligallo is I will want, but this is one of those words that have sort of a both future and present tense meaning depending on the conjugation. It can be either one. And saying ifelligallo is kind of like saying I want. And if you wanted to, I know we kind of did a lot of the conjugations, but just go through the practice of it. Remove the me from fellig. You don't have to worry about removing anything else. Fellig is your root. It doesn't begin with an A or end with an A, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just add the normal prefixes and suffixes. So fellig allo means I want. And this is how you would say I will want something or I want something. Based on the context, you will know which one to use. And again, related to the last lesson, when you combine an infinitive, which means to whatever, with ifelegalo, you can say I want to blank, which for meblat, which means to eat. To eat, I want is the direct translation, but the meaning would be I want to eat. Or mihid, to go. And mawashit, to lie. So that's the video. I'll see you all in the next one.